And our viewers, they have to have a website. Now, the question I have is, how do they know who is the professional? Because out there, you see everybody saying, oh, I've done all these websites. This is what they look like. And they look pretty to a business owner going in. But how do they know that they're going to get the results before they hire them? Like, what are some questions they should ask? Because that's a big question for our viewers, our listeners. What should they ask? How do they know?
Well, funny enough, we get a lot of business because people do a search and they see their competitors in the search, and then they scroll down to the bottom of the website where we have our website, and they contact us and say, "Put me ahead of them."
Yeah.
And we can't do that, but we can do our best and use the same. We use the same discipline for all of our customers, but there are certain things that Google likes to see that are inherent in some companies that are not in others. So we can do the exact same thing for two companies, and one might do better because they have a lot more properties or a lot more links or whatever it is. There's a lot of effort from the customer that's involved to really make it awesome. There's some things that we just can't do. We can't go out and do events and podcasts and stuff like you do to be successful for you. But we can do all of the basic, easy blocking and tackling that makes you able to compete. That's the main thing there. So,
on PMW websites or anybody's website, what's the number one thing that when someone's going to hire someone to build a website, what's the number one thing they need to hone in on to make sure that you're highly ranked for Google?
Well, the number one thing is, Google has an algorithm that they obviously don't publish.
Yes.
So we have to try to figure out, and there's all kinds of forums and websites where you can, and we pretty much know now. Obviously, Google really likes links, they really like content, and they really like traffic. So, there's domain authority, usage data, and relevancy. Those are the three major categories that go into SEO. You have to have a really strong, powerful domain, that's why it's hard for a brand new customer, brand new website to compete, because Google treats new websites like a new business. We don't trust you yet. We're not sure you're any good. We don't know, we don't have any reviews. We don't know if people like you or not. And then there's relevancy, which means, does this website actually do what the searcher is looking for? In this case, Phoenix property management, Scottsdale property management, whatever. Do you actually do that? So most people are very relevant because they are working and doing property management in the areas that they are targeting. But then there's also like usage data, and that's really hard to gain, because part of it is just by being big. If you're a company with 1,000 units versus a company with 10 units, then you're going to have 100 times as much traffic. That's just the way it goes, because you have a lot more tenants that are going to interact. You have a lot more owners that are going to interact, vendors, whatever. And you can't really fake the traffic and usage data that you get. But then there's obviously lots of other stuff that goes under each one of those. But relevance in a lot of usage data helps. The way you get that, the very most successful customers out there are the ones that create a lot of great content that people are interested in, whether they want to hire you or not. So if there's a lot of investors out there just trying to figure out how to do something like, where do I get a lease? How do I screen a tenant? This is all the stuff that the guy who owns one house that thinks he can do it on his own is trying to figure out. And then they realize that through doing all these searches, they keep maybe finding the same guy who's given all this great advice. And then they're like, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to hire this guy, girl, whoever. And that's just kind of the way it works. And even if they don't hire you, at least they're on your website creating usage data that Google's tracking and say, wow, when somebody goes to this website, they spend 45 minutes there and they look at 82 pages, and we're going to leave that site ranked highly.